So, what else? Try. So the topic is, if a pot is not perceived, it is not perceived only for two reasons. If you place a pot behind a wall, I can't see it, there is a veil. This is a very, very understandable veil. I am this side of the wall, Kudya, and I place the pot that side of the wall, and between there is wall. So because of that curtain, I can't see the pot. So the pot becomes imperceptible. This is. Similarly, you place a pot in darkness, I can't see it. So darkness is one reason why I don't see a pot. A veil is another reason why I don't see a pot. But these both together form one reason. Kudya and darkness form one reason. But here Bhashyakara comes up with a very beautiful thing. Sometimes you don't see the pot because it has gone back to its source. It becomes unmanifest. That is also called a kind of a veil. It is covered by another creation. Meaning, if you break the pot, you don't see the pot because at that time there are only kapalas. Kapalas means, the pieces of pot. That is another form. So the form of the pot is not perceived because it is unmanifest. This much you understand. When the pot goes back to its source also, you don't see it. But when the pot goes back to its source, we don't consider it as non-existent, but we consider it as very much existent in the source. That is why he says, Mridadehe abhivyaktasya tamah kudyadi prang mridaha abhivyakte. That mridaha, that mada is there in your text, make it mrit. Mridaha. Prang mrido abhivyaktehe mridadi avayavanam pindadi karyantara rupena sansthanam. Up to that means, before the creation of the pot is there, but it is not seen. It's amazing statement, Ji. Even before the pot is made, pot is there. Meaning the potential for the pot is there. So it is there. Existence can't be questioned. It is there. If it is totally not there, then you can't make it. It means, the basic Siddhantam is, what is totally non-existent, you can't bring it out. You can't bring it about. You can't create something that is not already existent. What is already existent in the unmanifest state, you can give it a shape. You can create. So it is Avaidikam, it goes against the Vedic vision that something that is totally non-existent can be brought about. something that is totally non-existent can be brought about is anti-Vedic culture, and it's against the logic, because we don't have an instance in life. We don't have an instance in which something totally non-existent can be brought about. When you make a table, you are not really bringing into existence the table that is non-existent. It's wrong. A layman thinks the table that was not there, I create. This is the universal thinking. The table that was not there, I create. But actually we can't create the table that is not there. We can only create the table that is there in the wood, in the potential. It's a very important thing. What is potentially existent alone can be created. But how easily we sometimes think, how easily is it universally thought that all creations do not exist before their creations. So effortlessly we think the house before its creation was not there. The table before its creation was not there. The pot before its creation was not there. The wave before its creation was not there. And me before I was born, I was not there. See, it has its repercussions on oneself. This thinking that before the creation of a table, the table was non-existent, or before the creation of a pot, the pot was non-existent. Before the creation of a wave, the wave was... This kind of thinking has repercussions on oneself. Then when you come back to oneself, it takes a toll on me. It is okay to say that before the table was made, the table was non-existent is a harmless error. It doesn't harm me by thinking, the table was non-existent before it was created. It's harmless to think that the wave was non-existent before it was born. And it is harmless to think that the table was non-existent before it was born. It's harmless, okay? But sometimes, harmless errors, the errors about the objects may be harmless, but that line of thinking can be applied to oneself. This I would like you to think. You see? Sometimes the habit to harm others may make you harm yourself also. That habit to harm may tempt you, may make you harm yourself. Who knows? It's like saying, if you are in the habit of digging graves for others, but one day unwittingly you might dig a grave for yourself. Who knows? That is the law of karma anyway. But here we are talking not about the karma, we are talking about the error. So this thinking, that the wave was non-existent before it was born, pot was non-existent before it was born, may make me also conclude that I was non-existent before I was born. Before I was born, I was non-existent. Strikes terror into me. If I can be non-existent before I was born, then I will be again non-existent after the death, after life. That idea that I am going to be nothing, it goes against my eternity. That conclusion is against my nature. And any conclusion that is contrary to nature will not go without repercussions. It will make me unhappy, Ji. In fact, that is the only definition of unhappiness, and I have no other definition. Any thought contrary to one's nature is unhappiness. Unhappiness doesn't descend from heaven, nor does it descend from hell. Unhappiness cannot be defined except as a thought contrary to the nature. Any thinking that jars against one's nature is unhappiness. And therefore, this thinking that I was not there before I was born, I will not be there after I will be gone, is something that is contrary to Vedic thinking, whereas Shankaracharya says, no, even before the pot was born, it was there but unmanifest. Wave, even before the wave rises, it was there as unmanifest, meaning as the potential in water. The pot was there as the potential in the clay. The table was there in the wood as the potential. In the same manner, man also was there in the potential as the potential even before he was born. We'll find out where the potential, that's a different matter, but the potentiality is there. Thus, the right thinking about an external object can have a blessing for yourself also. You see, right habit is important. You see, if I can go on telling lies to others, one day I may tell lies to myself. Yes, I can tell lies to myself. I can go on lying to myself. I'm all right, etc. When actually you are not all right. Therefore here Bhashyakara says, sir, when a pot is not seen, it could be due to darkness. It is there but not seen. When the pot is the other side of the wall, it is there but it is not seen. Even when the pot is broken, I don't see the pot, but the pot is there, but I don't see. It is unmanifest. Thus, there are two reasons why the pot is not seen. One is like darkness and wall. The other is it's going back to its source. Tamah kudyadi prang mridaha abhivyaktehe mridadhyavayavana pindadi karyantara rupena sansthanam. Tasmat, therefore, pragutpattehe, before the creation, vidyamanasya eva, the creation, the world that was very much there, vidyamanasya eva, ghatadi karyasya, like pot, etc. Avritatvat, it is only covered, it remains unperceived. Here Bhagavan defines something, avaranam. Avaranam means not actually. Sometimes there is a real avaranam. If the pot is the other side of the wall, I can say the wall is really avaranam. Supposing it is there in the darkness, then also we can say some kind of a dark avaranam. But when the pot goes back to its source, then it is not called really there is avaranam. It is being there unperceived itself is. It is being there unperceived itself is called avaranam. Now, right now, I would like to clinch an important thought. Sir, if you don't see a pot, you say when the pot is broken, there is no pot. There may be kapalas, but there is no pot. I don't see the pot. But without seeing the pot, how do you conclude that there is a pot? In fact, when the pot is broken, we still think the pot is there, not because it is seen, but because it is an object of inference. Anumana is the means by which we arrive at the presence of the pot. Why? Because if it were not there, it would not be again remade. Because the fundamental thinking of Veda is, what is can't become is not. And what is not cannot become is. Is a very important. This rings, a death knell to a lot of schools. This is the distinction of Vedic culture. What is can't become what is not. It is the universal lay thinking which doesn't, the universally it is taught in a lay manner that what is becomes is not and what is not becomes is. This is the universal error. But Veda says correct that fundamental error. What is cannot become suddenly is not. Nor does it become is not gradually. What is will never become is not. What is not never becomes is. Neither creation becomes non-existent. The creation is ever existent as its source. As manifest, it is the truth. It is Brahman. As unmanifest also, it is Brahman. But we never conclude that universe is not. But we only, Brahma Vidya tells us that the universe is Brahman. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. We conclude Brahma Vidya enlightens us. Vedanta enlightens man to understand that the universe is Brahman. It never tells that the universe is not. There is no such a thing called the universe is not. What is cannot become is not, and vice versa. And therefore, to understand the presence of the unmanifest, you can register this point. To see the pot that is made, perception. Eyes are the pramanam by which I can perceive. Pratyaksha is the pramanam by which I can perceive the pot that is made. But if the pot breaks and it becomes unmanifest, but still I conclude the pot, even after breaking the pot, I say the pot is still there. It is there. I conclude the presence of the pot even before the creation of the pot. I conclude the presence of the pot even after the destruction of the pot. I conclude the presence of the pot before the creation and after the destruction. Not through perception, but through inference. But through inference.
As an idea.
As an inference, because if it were non-existent, it would not be reborn. Therefore, the unmanifest is always inferred, not perceived. When a musician goes to sleep and he wakes up again as a musician, when he wakes up as a musician, the manifest musician I see, but even in sleep he must have been there as unmanifest, is a matter of inference. Vyakritam is seen, avyakritam is inferred. Is a huge relief in Vedanta, I am telling you. For a Vedanta, for a serious Vedanta Vidyarthi to understand that the manifest universe is a matter of perception, whereas the unmanifest state of the universe is a matter of inference. And inference is as much valid as even perception. Inference is valid. And therefore, concluding that the pot was not there before its creation, or concluding that the pot is not there after the destruction of the pot, it goes against Anumana. It goes against inference. And therefore here, one kind of our enemy is darkness and wall. The other kind of our enemy is just becoming unmanifest. Sansthanam tasmat pragutpattehe vidyamanasya eva ghatadi karyasya avrutatvat anupalabdhihi. Up to that we have seen. Nashta. Whenever the pot becomes unmanifest, sometimes the Laukika Shabda, this world calls it destroyed. Ye khatam ho gaya. It's very beautiful, ji. How do people call it destroyed? That very going back to the source rather, or being replaced by another creation, becoming going back to the source itself. When the creation as though goes back to the source, let us say, when it has a laya in the source, that very laya in the source, when the pot resolves back into the clay, or the wave into water, an ornament into gold, etc., the table into wood, etc., people generally use the word nashta. It is gone, destroyed. Nashta. Utpanna. And when we say it is born, again it means only what is present unmanifestly becomes manifest. Bas itna hi hai. Whereas when the world uses the language it is born, they invariably think जो नहीं था वो आ गया. ये बहुत बड़ा. Fundamentally, what was not there cannot come into being. It's a very big thing, ji. It just really enlightens, meaning fundamentally nothing is born, nothing is destroyed. In fact, everything becomes either manifest now or unmanifest. Bas. Continuity. Therefore, nashta, utpanna, bhava. And when it becomes manifest, we call it is present. And when it becomes unmanifest, we call it abhava, absent. The word like destroyed, the word like born, the word like presence, the word like absence, abhava, shabda, these words, pratyaya bhedastu, their difference, there's various words and their different ideas. Each word is associated with a given idea, with thinking. I say, jo nahi tha wo aa gaya, that is called the creation. And when the pot is destroyed, we say when it becomes unmanifest, we say it is gone. And when it is manifest, we say it is present. And when it becomes unmanifest, we say it is absent. Pratyaya bhedastu abhivyakti tirobhavayoho dvividatva apeksha. It means nothing but abhivyakti and tirobhava, only becoming manifest and unmanifest. What people call destruction is nothing but becoming unmanifest. What people call a birth is nothing but becoming manifest. What people call presence of the world is manifestation of it. What people call the absence is nothing but unmanifest. Otherwise, there is no such a thing called now presence, now absence, now destruction, now creation. These are all words, Laukika Shabdas. But actually it means Abhivyakti and Tirobhava. If this is the thing, then apply it to oneself. You can't say the non-existent me became existent. Nor can we say the existent me is going to become non-existent. Why? Because that is not possible. The existent becoming non-existent and vice versa is not possible. And if I can imagine the impossible and fear, we all fear, but in order to be away, in order to be free from that fear, the only method is to understand the reality. And the reality about us is we don't move from presence to absence and absence to presence. We move from only the manifest state to the unmanifest state, like waking and sleep. And we wake up in truth and we sleep in truth. And truth is ever evident. As an individual, we open our eyes in the truth. We close our eyes in the truth. We wake up in the truth. We close our eyes, we sleep in the truth. The one who wakes up is a jiva. The one who falls asleep is a jiva. And where he wakes up and where he sleeps is the truth, his own actuality. Man sleeps in his own actuality, wakes up in his own actuality. He can't wake up in something else, nor does he wake up, nor does he sleep in something else. Amazingly, it is not possible to fall asleep in something other than oneself. Because if you have to fall asleep in something other than oneself, then that something other than oneself, you should be aware. Is it not? And if you are aware of something other than yourself, then you haven't fallen asleep. Therefore, resolution is not, even though we say man resolves unto the truth, it is actually, it goes back unto himself, his actuality. That is why, let me elaborate a little, don't feel bored, thoda bahut. आज ये तपस्या है जी, थोड़ा बहुत आधा घंटा सुनना है. It is called swapiti. Deep sleep state is called swapiti, swapaha. Swapaha. Swapaha means swasmin apito bhavati. Swasmin apne aap mein apito bhavati, goes back. Going back to one's own self is called swapaha, sleep. And what a beautiful explanation. Otherwise, universally the lay thinking is that sleep means disappearing. But our literature tells, sir, sleep does not mean disappearing, because what is present can never disappear. It cannot become non-existent. What is present can't become absent. What is totally absent can't become present. That will be great confusion. If what is present can become absent, problem ho jayenge. Then how do we establish the truth? How do we determine the truth? Eternal. Therefore, sleep is not disappearing. Sleep is going back to oneself. Going back to oneself is not called disappearance. It is asserting my own actual identity. In disappearance, you see, becoming one with myself, I get united with myself. As a Jivatma, I get united with my own actuality. And therefore, Nashta, Utpanna, Bhava. This is excellent statement. You can underline it. The Laukika Shabdas like destruction, it is destroyed, it is created, it is present, it is absent. All of them mean only manifest and unmanifest. Actually, there is no literal creation, literal destruction. Creation means what is unmanifest becomes is manifest. And therefore, if this is exactly what the truth is, when I am alive, I am manifestly present. When I leave the body, I am unmanifestly present. That is why Shraddha Karma works. The Jiva is there somewhere. But wherever he is, it doesn't matter, he is inside the creation anyway. And some people think, how can you, the karma that you do here, some prayer that you offer for your dead soul, for a dead person, how can it reach him? You to chale gaya. A very, very shoddy thinking. I say chale gaya means what is within creation. And the law of karma pervades the whole creation. And therefore, when you offer a prayer for a personhood, definitely it will give him some help somewhere. Who knows, ji? Your own people in the previous janma, somewhere in the south or north or wherever, they must be doing some shraddha for you. That is why suddenly you get a lot of money. Who knows, ji? It may be due to your karma or it may be due to somebody's shraddha karma. It has to reach you. Yes. I don't mind taking it that way. And then people doubt, suppose Swamiji, the person has already taken birth, then say, he is not be outside creation anyway. वो कहीं भी रहे जी, क्या हो गया? That is why any prayer for any person is valid. Any prayer for any person at any place at any time is valid. And I mean every bit of it. I can refute anybody who tries to disprove it. Prayer is something that can bring the result for the one for whom I have sankalpa. If a man is sick, every day you do some prayer and offer the result, it will help. But generally it doesn't. Generally we do एक दिन के लिए थोड़ी देर बैठते हैं थोड़ा. स्वामी जी कुछ हुआ नहीं, अभी हॉस्पिटल में ही है. क्या बात है जी, keep praying. Keep giving medication also pray. Prayer has its realm, like eyes have their job, ears have their job. Medication has its job. Doctoring the person has its job, but prayer has its job. Yes. Oh, if medicines themselves can help a person, why prayer? See, this is all because the law of karma is not understood. Sometimes, for a drowning man, I tell you, even a straw is a big thing. If a prayer can give me a straw even, sometimes a straw may help me. Thus, Shraddha, etc., all of them are useful. The next paragraph we will see in the next class. Today I have to go somewhere, and whatever half an hour I am taking, I am eating up your half an hour. And whatever I have eaten up, we will make it up. Sometime, God willing, we'll do it. I have to see a doctor today. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ramachandra, 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 Ramachandra.